These are the weirdest shoes I've ever reviewed. The weirdest shoes ever. Weird. I don't know, it's so weird. This shoe is so weird. But we reviewed them on the Rose Anvil 2 channel. We haven't ever cut them in half. We don't know what's on the inside. But you guys clearly want to see what's going on because we got 25,000 views, 15,000 views. And so I figured it's finally time to cut these in half, figure out what's going on, why are they so weird? Is it just, do they just look weird on the outside? Or are they actually uniquely built on the inside? Why do they make these? What is the brand about? What is the intention with these? I'm just trying to decode what these shoes are all about. So we're gonna cut both these in half, run through all of our tests to try to really figure out those questions. What's Meanforme about? Why are they so weird? Is there actual functionality to this or they just look weird? Is there some advantages you get from this distinct of a manufacturing style compared to any other style? It's just a mystery box, ultimately. And so we're just gonna do this together, kind of dissect it piece by piece and go through their site and figure out their history to really figure out the truth of Meanforme. So first, who is Meanforme? Let's check out their site. They say, born in the city of Manchester, England, Meanforme is dedicated to crafting unique, very well-made footwear. Our passionate team brings together decades of experience in footwear design, engineering, and manufacturing. Our story began with the launch of our first product, the Rydell boot. Crafting this boot was no small feat. It required meticulous engineering and very slow, steady manufacturing, but the result was well worth the effort. The Rydell set this tone for our brand, combining classic shoe design elements from past with premium material. But why are they called Meanforme? Well, the term Meanforme harks back to the traditional shoe craft. In the early days of shoemaking, a Meanforme served as a foundation for creating the upper patterns. It is a paper tape silhouette, which we have some of those samples, so we'll show you in the B-roll what a Meanforme actually looks like, at least our version of a Meanforme. It is a paper tape silhouette of the shoe last applied to the paper pattern. The quality of the shoe's fit and finish depends on the precision of the form. First, what are these shoes that we're actually looking at? Well, first, let's look at the Scott. So the brand is obviously Meanforme. The style is the Meanforme Scott Q. They retail for $479. They're handmade in Portugal, and the way they position this product is a men's single eye tie boot, handcrafted in Portugal, made with a natural hand-stitched crepe sole. Each pair is numbered and comes with a recycled cotton branded drawstring. So this is 7 of 8. It's a shame to have to cut it in half. So it says it's a Horween aspen horse leather. This vegetable tan, 2 millimeters thick. Oh, dang. The next contender, the Binley. So the Binley Chukka. This one is probably made in the same location. It doesn't say specifically on their description right now. I got it in the desert sand. They retail for $411, and they don't really have a description, honestly. I thought they would position this product to kind of describe what it is, what it's for, what are the inspirations, but there's really not much information at all. So that's why we're doing this video, because it's such a new brand, it's so unique and distinct, and it's doing all this weird stuff. The boot breaker system has been the surprise success of all the products that we launched this year, and I think it's because it was needed. You know, I think people really, really needed this thin little 2 millimeter bit of foam that just helps you break in your boots, adds a little bit of squish to your heritage boots without changing your size, without destroying any of the value that you get from a heritage boot, and somehow nobody did it. And because of that, we expanded out into some leather boot breakers, because people are like, make it out of leather. Like, we could do that, we got the dyes. People are like, we want a thicker one. And I was like, I do too, actually, because like I could use a little thicker one. And then people are like, we want an even thicker one. Give us a big old mattress to put in our boots. And I was like, we could probably find it, and you're in luck, because we sourced this thick mattress of an insole. If you want tons of squish in your shoes or boots, or you want to take up a ton of room and have a lot of squish, if you want to run like a little thin leather insole on top of a lot of squish, you can combine the two. And that's kind of been the fun of the boot breaker system, is it's half driven by what you guys want and what you see is needed. Because honestly, I thought this was the only thing we were going to launch, and now we've launched 3 different thicknesses of leather and now 3 different thicknesses of foam, because they seem to be useful. And I think sometimes when it comes to product design, simplicity rules overall. Sometimes you just don't need to overdo it. Sometimes there's a simple need in the market, and that's exactly what the boot breakers were. So check them out below, check out the new super thick daddies, and add some squish to your life, add a little heritage to your life, and check them out below. So now start looking at the details of these boots, starting with the leather first, and like we said, this one is actually horsehide. So it's a 2 to 2.2 millimeter thick Horween aspen horsehide that's vegetable tanned. And it smells vegetable tanned. And horsehide usually has a little bit tighter grain pattern. It's more expensive, and you can see how thick that grain is on this leather. So this is a really, really nice Horween leather. You know, Horween's one of the top tanneries in the world to begin with, and they're just like any tannery. They'll make you cheap stuff, they'll make you really high-end stuff, and this is definitely more towards the high-end Horween stuff. And just it being horse alone kind of elevates it to me, and that's why it has this unique texture and pattern, and it's just a lot tighter through the entire cross-section. Compare that to the Binley. This is the same thickness, but it's calfskin. You can see that texture is a lot tighter. It's not quite as pebbled as this. If you look at the cross section, it doesn't have nearly as much of the grain because it's a calf compared to a giant horse. And it's a lot more supple too. And that's not solely because it's calf versus horse. You can make horse really supple, you can make calf really rigid, but on the whole, that's the general characteristics you're gonna see from those two leathers. So is this leather worth that $400 price point? I think it is. This is a pretty high quality leather, especially the horsehide. Same with the Binley. This is a really nice calf skin. I don't think it's nearly as nice as the horsehide, but it's still what you'd expect from this price point of boots. If you look at the inside, part of what makes these so cool is they're very, very simple. You know, if you look inside of here, there's no lining whatsoever that I can feel. I think this is just one single piece of horsehide. I think this is a single piece of horsehide. You don't even have a backstay because it just comes together perfectly and together. And basically same thing with the Binley. It's through the forefoot, I don't think it's lined whatsoever. I think it's the only lining you get is right here around the heel because this has a padded collar. So you have to have something to encapsulate the padded collar. And then they run it down as a heel counter as well. And that's part of what I love about these is just how simple they are. And some people are gonna say, well, for 450 bucks, I don't even get a lining in that boot. And that's part of like what we're trying to discover with this is like, who wants this and why would they want it? And what are you actually getting for that price point? And what are you not getting for that price point? And also this has a padded tongue, which I forgot to mention. But what about the insoles? This is where they're so interesting because look at the shape of these. You know, this goes back to that last that we saw. That is like a 2x4. It's so ridiculous. The big toe is pretty straight. It comes in just a little bit over here. In the Binley, it's more traditionally shaped. It still kind of has that squared off toe shape, but these are really wide. So if you're looking for a more wide toe box that has a zero drop platform-ish, because obviously this has a little bit more squish in the heel than in the forefoot, but it's just within reason, you know? So to me, it's a really interesting option, and they're removable. So if you hate this insole, you can do what I did. I just put a little boot breaker down in there. But these insoles they're pretty high quality because I think this is the horsehide used as the insole topper, and then it's a closed-celled, I don't know, what is this? Let's see what they say. Footbed recycled polyurethane base. So it's polyurethane. Then underneath of those, this pair has a regular lasting material, whereas the horsehide pair has a leather lasting board. And the Binley also has a regular sneaker lasting board. And they're all three Strobel stitch. So that's what you would assume the construction would be. But then what is going on with the toe of these shoes? Because in this pair, you've got a fully formed crepe rubber outsole that is essentially a cupsole. They formed a flat sheet of cork into a cupsole. And then it's got this whip stitch running all the way around. And I have no idea if there's anything underneath. Is it just the leather and then you're standing on the crepe? Because they are very lightweight, they're flexible. It feels like there might be a little bit of extra structure in the heel. Then you look at the Binley and this thing is completely different. This shoe is very perplexing. That was why in the unboxing video, I literally started cutting the heel because I was like, I don't know what's going on with this thing. And so instead of a crepe rubber cupsole, it looks like you've got a crepe rubber bumper and then a regular Vibram outsole. So is this built more like a vulcanized construction and this is more like a cupsole? Or is there something else going on with this? Or is like any of this fake? Is this just glued on the bottom? Because I have no idea. And that's why I was like, I have to cut these. The other question is, do I cut my green pair or do I cut the rare pair? Because I like this pair more because of the mock toe stitch kind of hides how wide it is. This one just looks really, really wide. But this one's horsehide. I think we gotta do it. I think we have to for at least the title and thumbnail. Because it's one of 8 boots with the weirdest boot I've ever cut in half, and it's horsehide. So I think we have to. I think we gotta do it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my green pair. Meanformes were like, you did what? To one of 8? I'm like, sorry. That's what you get when you send me boots. There's always a chance. So now, let's get to the fun. Let's start dissecting this, because we're not doing a cut in half. We're just gonna actually dissect these. So I'm just gonna go around and pop all this whip stitch and see what comes out. Oh, it's glued. I thought maybe it was just stitched on there. Nothing like destroying the weirdest, rarest shoe that we've had. That's what you gotta do. That's why people watch. Okay, I got a whole stitch cut. So now let's see if it comes out, what it does. I peel the outsole off. Dang, it's really well bonded, that's for sure. I thought I'd just be able to tear this thing apart, to be honest. Take my jacket off. Also, it smells like honey, like beeswax and honey. These shoes are so weird. Okay, let's just cut it in half then. We'll just cut it with a knife. Old school. This is what I'll do, okay? I'm gonna make some wallets out of this leather. It's too nice just to destroy. So I'm just gonna do a little dissection rather than fully cut it in half. So if you want one of these wallets, we'll give them away. Just make sure you're on the limited edition email list link below, because that's where you get early access to all of our collaborations and all of our product drops. And that's where we give away free stuff from time to time. Cut right down the Center of that, right down the center of that. That wasn't very centered, but close enough. Okay, so now that stitch is popped, so it should just come undone, right? We can get some cloud wallets out of that. Should be fine. I just got a nice little mule. That's the thing with these big stitches, even though I've cut them, they still hold strong because of the glue and the little stitch that they have in there. Look at that, that is crazy. That is like a boat for your foot. That's so ridiculous. It really is like a fully crepe rubber cupsole. Okay, then what's underneath here? So you can see right here that there's the lasting board is leather, strobel stitch right there. So if I cut this strobel stitch, we should be able to get it out. Let's see what's underneath of it. Can I get in there? Oh, it's really well glued. I don't know if I can get that out. Yeah, I don't think I'm pulling that apart. So far, we've got the vamp piece. We've got the 2 quarter panels come together at the heel with the little aprons. Then you've got a piece of leather there, piece of leather there, then 1 layer for that strobel board. So now, let's cut right down the middle because I don't think I can get that pried apart. Crepe rubber is so interesting. It allegedly gathers grit and grime as you walk, and it makes it really good for a winter outsole, allegedly. At least that's what brands that have crepe rubber say, so take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like it's somewhat true because I feel like the crepe rubber soles do get grippier as you go along. Okay, so it wasn't quite a 0 drop shoe like I thought. You got a little bit of foam in the heel. Look at all that crepe rubber. That is crazy. So you see what I mean? It's just the weirdest shoes ever. I've never seen a shoe ever made anything close to this. But what's even weirder is this one. This thing is nuts because I have no idea what's going on in here. So do I dissect this one or do I just cut it straight in half? I think we'll just do an old school cut in half, knife only. Okay, perforated tongue, that's pretty cool. It's not gusseted. So I'm gonna just cut straight down the tongue. That. Cut up the back, stay. Give me a cut center score. Viewers. That was not bad for a complete blind cut, at least at 8, right? Another thing that's interesting is there is a very slight stiffener in the heel, but like I said, the shoe is about as simple as it gets. It doesn't have any toe stiffener and a very, very minimal heel stiffener just on that back stay only. That little piece right there. This one, on the other hand, has a more traditional counter, no toe counter, but it does have a little mock toe stitch. And you can see it's strobel stitched and it has that sidewall stitch. Because what I'm really curious about is what's going on with this outsole, because it's a Vibram outsole, and I don't know if this just is like a foxing tape or if it's recessed into it, if it's just a single layer with a bottom on it. I don't know. That's what we're gonna figure out though. It's definitely not the best knife to be dissecting this with. Okay, let's get into it. Let's see what's going on with this outsole. I gotta go to the bandsaw. It's too hard. Our Easter sale's live right now, 20% off the whole freaking site for Easter. Why not? Put something in your own Easter basket. If you haven't got one, hide it in the yard. Go find an Easter egg full of a wallet or a belt or camera harness. 20% off the whole site. Get it before it's gone. All right, I cheated, I had to go to the bandsaw. So what is going on in here? This is such a weird construction because you can see right here, it's recessed into the foxing tape. See how there's a little lip right there? So there's somehow, I'm assuming hand sanding that to get that foxing tape to lay a little bit flatter. Cause see how there's barely a lip right here? If that wasn't recessed, it'd be a 1/4 inch sticking out. So that's a lot of effort just to make the shoe look a little bit slimmer. Cause I don't think it adds that much more durability, if any at all. There is some good voids in the heel here, which is not a big deal, especially if you have the insole that kind of structures it. And then there's this piece right there. I have no idea what is that. There's a piece of rubber right there that wraps all the way around. I wonder if it's just a filler layer, because if you have an outsole that's flat and a sidewall that's a 90 degree, but your shoe is kind of shaped like a dish, kind of like you can see here, that might just be a little filler layer to make it bond really, really well. Or maybe it's part of the construction. I don't know, it's so weird. This shoe is so weird. Let me cut this and then rip it. Let's see if we can get in there. It looks like rubber. Can I peel this off? No, it's cut in half. Come on. There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, that layer, what is that? It's like I don't even really understand like how they got to this point. Not to say it's a bad thing, but it's just such a weird and unique way of making a shoe with such unique materials. I've never even seen anything like that. It's like, I don't know, it's so strange. Let me tear this part out. There's your lasting board. I've never seen this Vibram outsole either. It's like a sneakerified version of the classic wedge with all these voids in it. Some people like the voids, some people dislike them. They give you extra squish. You lose some of the durability because you can start wearing into the voids. And to me, all that matters, as long as there's something structuring that so you don't get high spots and low spots, that's the bigger concern I have with it. But I've never even seen this outsole. It's called the Choreflex. And then now you can really see the lining too. Very simple skeleton lining, a separate layer for the heel counter. There's your classic sneaker heel counter material. And now, so like I've got this whole thing cut apart. Oh, it's almost like it's a welt. Look at that. It's almost like this was a piece from a different style of construction that they brought over to this to fill in that void. I don't freaking know. It's weird. So also very different styles of construction. You know, like they're both really wacky in their own way. Like this is just I've never seen anything built quite like it. You know, you can say, oh, it's just like it's a vulcanized combined with a cup, like a wedge sole that recessed it. I'm like, yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. It reminds me of like the Jim Green African Rangers. Yeah, I think that's the closest thing I can think of to it. So then what are these shoes for? Because they're so different and they're both unique in their own way. I think this Binley is a casual shoe that's gonna feel more like a boot. Because it doesn't actually look like a shoe either. It's kind of just like a boot shoe hybrid where it's got like a work boot outsole. It's fairly rigid, but it's gonna be pretty durable because you got that big old bumper running all the way around it. It's like combining like a sneaker with like a desert boot, but combining it with real boot, like a construction or like a work boot. It's such a wacky shoe. But that's what I like about it. And that's why I wanted to highlight it, because so many brands just pump out the same thing over and over and over. Like how many times have you seen these giant corporations basically make the same dunk style shoe? And they're just like, oh, it's black or white. Oh, look, we're just doing the same things over and over. Like, these big brands don't take risks like these small brands do. And that's why I wanted to highlight it, not just because they're a small brand, but because they're actually doing things different. And it's the proof's in the pudding. Because if you look at this version, like this is kind of like a moccasin style construction, but not truly a moccasin, but it's got a cup sole, but not truly a cup sole. It's crepe rubber, but used in a really unique way. Like I think they're not the first ones to do this, but combined with everything else with this shoe, with the really wide, crazy toe box, with the horse hide and this big old apron to harken back to, I'm assuming, moccasin style construction. This shoe is a lot more of a casual shoe. Like I just wear mine putting around. You're not gonna work in them, you're not gonna hike in them, you're not gonna do anything more than casual wear. But they're really close to a zero drop shoe. And so it has kind of that wide toe box zero drop feel. It kind of reminds me of what Yucatan does with their moccasins. They take an old school design and they've spun it off and iterated it so much that it's like this almost like avant-garde version of a moccasin. That's kind of how this feels to me. But they're still built really well, they function really well. I've been wearing these, well, decent amount, my poor iPad this video. You know, this is kind of what I'd be doing in the background anyway before I do a video. And this is just such a weird and unique brand that I wanted to kind of bring you guys along for the discovery and see how I dissect things and what I'm looking for. And so if you like this more casual kind of discovery style video, let me know, because they're fun to do, you know, just as a different style. It's a little less produced and maybe a little bit longer form, but you guys get to come along for the ride. So check out Meanforme. They're a very small company, so support them. Check out their Instagram, their social media. Thank you guys again for supporting this channel. The only way we can do this is with your guys' support of our collaborations, our handmade leather goods, our saddle soles and boot breakers. Everything we do behind the scenes is what allows us to make these kind of videos, to show you what you're actually spending your hard money on, see these brands that are actually pushing the limits and doing unique and different things, and sacrificing one of the weirdest and rarest shoes that we've ever cut apart. But I kind of regret doing it now. So just for that alone, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and thank you guys. See ya.